Have you ever tried to forget someone and found it impossible? Do you ever wonder why memories, emotions, or people still stay in your heart, no matter how hard you try to let go? Why is it that even after removing someone from your life, they still live in your mind? Let's take a simple example. Imagine holding a glass of water. It's light, right? But what if you hold it for an hour, a whole day? The weight doesn't change, but your arm begins to hurt. That's what happens when we hold on to pain, past, or people. We carry it longer than needed, thinking we've let it go, but it's still hurting us inside. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we uncover the true meaning of ancient Buddhist teachings in ways that make sense for your everyday life. There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. Why? If you find this video meaningful, please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. It helps us reach more hearts like yours. Don't just watch, be part of this journey. Many people think letting go means cutting people off or pretending not to care. But that's not what Buddhism teaches. Letting go is not about ignoring, forgetting, or pushing things away. It is about understanding. Buddha taught that holding on is the cause of suffering, but most of us don't even realize what we're truly holding on to. We think it's a person, a job, or a memory. But often, it's our idea, our expectation, our need to control. In Buddhist wisdom, letting go begins not with action, but with awareness. Before you can release anything, you must see it clearly, without blame, without denial, and without fear. This part is just the beginning. In the next chapters, we will explore how real letting go is gentle, peaceful, and deeply powerful. Not something forced, but something natural, once you understand the truth. Stay with us. The truth might not be what you think, but it could free you from what you've been carrying for so long. Attachment disguised, the subtle chains we cling to. So, you want to understand letting go, yes? Then we must talk about what you are holding. Not the obvious things, not the big rocks, but the small threads that still pull at your heart, quietly, invisibly. These are attachments in disguise. Many people think they are not attached. They say, I don't have much, or I don't care about wealth, or I've already let that go. But still, something inside them trembles when life doesn't go as they wish. That trembling, that is where attachment hides. In Buddhism, we're not just speaking of holding on to a person, an object, or a memory. No, attachment wears many faces. It hides in your expectations. It hides in your ideas of fairness. It hides in your wish for life to be a certain way. When those wishes are not met, you suffer. This is the first clue. Let me tell you a story, a very small one, but enough. A monk once swept the same path every morning. One day, a traveler passed and walked across the clean path with muddy feet. The monk frowned. He didn't say anything, but his heart was unsettled, not because of the dirt, but because of the broken image of perfection. He was attached to how things should be. Now, understand this. Even something as simple as wanting your morning tea to be hot, or the rain to come only when you don't need to go out, that is a form of attachment. Innocent, yes, but subtle and strong. These attachments build layer by layer. First to things, then to habits, then to ideas, and finally to identity. I'm this kind of person, we say. I would never do that. I deserve better. Do you see? The more you define yourself, the more you are bound. The more you are bound, the more you will fear change. And without change, life becomes stiff, heavy, and painful. Letting go is not only about releasing people or pain. It is about loosening the tight grip you have on your image of self. I am strong. I am right. I must be understood. These beliefs bring you suffering when the world does not agree. You become angry, sad, or cold. Not because life is cruel, but because your idea was rigid. The Buddha called this clinging. Clinging to views, to outcomes, to status, even to virtue. And each form of clinging is like a chain. Not always heavy, but always limiting. Let me offer another gentle example. Have you ever given someone advice, thinking it would help them? But when they didn't follow it, you felt disappointed, maybe even angry? That's not love. That's attachment to being listened to. A subtle one, but powerful. This is how attachment hides. It covers itself with good intentions. It whispers, I only want the best. But in truth, it wants control. It wants things to unfold in a way that makes you feel safe or important. Even kindness can become an attachment when we expect something in return. I was there for them. Why aren't they here for me? That's the pain of invisible strings. You thought you gave freely, but the hand was still holding on. Now, in Zen, we learn to see these threads before they become ropes. The practice is simple, but not always easy. Observe without grasping. See what you want, but don't chase it. Feel what you feel, but don't be owned by it. Let people come and go, without tying your happiness to their behavior. There's a saying among monks, if it comes, let it come. If it goes, let it go. This is not carelessness. This is deep respect for life's flow. You're not a rock. You are water, and water is free because it does not resist. It moves around obstacles, it changes form, it finds a way. That is how you must be with your attachments. Recognize them, smile gently at them, and then let them soften. So how do you begin? Slowly. Start with one thought. When something upsets you, pause and ask, what am I really holding on to here? Is it a need to be respected? A wish to be loved? A fear of being forgotten? When you name it, it loses power. You begin to understand that your suffering is not from the event itself, but from your grip on how it should have been. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop controlling. It doesn't mean you forget. It means you stop forcing the memory to bring you pain. It doesn't mean you walk away from everything. It means you walk away from what no longer allows you to grow in peace. And slowly, the world becomes lighter. You see someone being rude to you, and instead of reacting, you smile inside. You know they are caught in their own net of attachments. You do not take it personally. You are free. You lose something you loved, but instead of drowning in sorrow, you breathe. You thank life for giving it to you, even for a while. And that gratitude becomes your healing. This is the real letting go. It happens inside, not outside. Not with loud declarations, but with quiet understandings. One last thought, dear listener. The tighter you hold the sand, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you open your hand, it stays for a while, gently, without struggle. So open your hands. Open your mind. Let go of the invisible chains, one by one. Not with force, not with fear, but with faith that what is real will stay, and what must leave will teach you something beautiful. You are not here to control life. You are here to live it, to witness it, to flow with it. And that, truly, is where peace begins. Beyond possessions, letting go of identity. You'll come again. Still curious, still walking this path of letting go. Good. But now we must go deeper. You've seen how attachments were many masks. In the last teaching, we spoke of subtle clinging to opinions, to being right, to being heard. But today we look at the deepest and most hidden attachment, the one to yourself. Not to your body, not to your name, but to your identity, the person you believe you are. Let me ask you, who are you? Most will say, I am a teacher, I am a father, I am a student, I am kind, I am strong, I am broken. But these are only descriptions, roles, stories, labels. None of them are the real you. Imagine you are wearing many robes. One says successful, one says hurt, another says quiet, funny, serious, brave. These robes are stitched by life, worn over time. You look down at them and believe, this is me. But what if I told you, you are none of these robes? In Buddhism, there's a powerful idea called anatta, no fixed self. The self you cling to is like a river. It flows, changes. It is not the same from one moment to the next. But the mind, oh how it loves to fix things, to say, this is who I am, and stay there forever. Why does it do that? Because it wants safety. It wants to be known, to be solid, to not disappear. But life is not solid. It is wind, water, shadow, light. So when you fix your identity, you create suffering. You say, I must be strong. And when you feel weak, you suffer. You say, I am loving. And when you feel angry, you feel guilty. You say, I'm not that kind of person, but life makes you do things you never imagined, and now you feel lost. See how the prison is built? Not with walls, but with ideas. A young monk once asked the Buddha, "How can I become enlightened?" The Buddha replied, "Drop the idea that there is a you who becomes anything. Let me tell you a small story. There was a potter who made beautiful clay pots. People praised him, and he came to believe, I am an artist. One day, he hurt his hands and could no longer mold the clay as before. He fell on his sadness, not because his hands were hurt, but because he could no longer be the artist. His identity crumbled, and with it his peace. This is the cost of attachment to identity. It limits you. It defines what you can and cannot be. It makes you fight against life. The Zen path is different. We don't fix ourselves to roles or images. We move with the moment, like clouds, changing shape, never resisting the wind. Ask yourself, what stories are you clinging to? I'm always the one who gives. I've been hurt. I can't trust anyone. I am successful. I must be strong for everyone. I am a failure. I deserve better. Every one of these stories adds weight. And when life asks you to change, these stories say, no, I can't. That is how we suffer. Not because change is painful, but because resistance is. Letting go of identity is not erasing yourself. It is discovering that you are bigger than any name, any story. It is realizing that you don't have to be anyone. You can just be. But how? You begin by watching your thoughts. Notice how quickly the mind says, I am, pay attention. I am tired. I am angry. I'm not good enough. Each time the mind labels the experience, ask, is this the full truth? Or just a passing cloud? Meditation helps here. When you sit in silence, not trying to be anything, just watching, breathing, you begin to feel the space behind all identities. You're not the thought. You're not the feeling. You're the space in which they rise and fall. There's a teaching in Zen. If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. Strange words, yes? But it means, if you form an idea of who you are or what truth is, let it go. Even your spiritual identity can become a trap. I am spiritual. I am awakened. I am more aware than others. These are just ego dressed in holy robes. Real letting go is humility. It says, I don't know who I am, and I don't need to, because whatever I am is always changing. And in that change, I find freedom. The wind does not say, I am east. The river does not say, I am deep. They just flow. They don't cling to names. That is why they are free. So what happens when you begin to let go of identity? You become lighter. You stop defending yourself so much. You stop arguing to prove who you are. You stop fearing failure. You stop being afraid of being seen differently. You just live. If someone calls you a fool, you smile. You know you're not fixed. If someone praises you, you smile again. You don't wear that praise like armor. You become playful, peaceful, and more open to change. Even relationships change. You stop expecting others to behave according to your story. You should act like this. She must understand me. When you stop clinging to who you think they are, or who they should be, you love more purely. Even grief softens. You miss someone, yes, but you no longer say, they were my person. You understand that people are not ours. They are visitors, beautiful ones, but not possessions. So, dear traveler on this path, look within. What labels are you wearing? Are they still true? Will they ever? Dare to take them off. One by one, you'll find you're still here, breathing, aware, alive. And in that simple presence, without name, without story, you are free. That is the gift of letting go. Not losing yourself, but finding the you that was never trapped in words to begin with. Sit quietly for a moment. Feel your breath. You don't have to be anything right now. Just be. That is enough. That is always enough. The roots of holding on, fear, ego, and desire. Ah, you've come again. You've listened deeply, and now your heart wants to go further. Good. Let us now step into the roots of our clinging. We often say, I want to let go, but what we do not see is why we keep holding on. If you do not understand the roots, how can you ever loosen the grip? Let me show you, very slowly, where this tightness in your heart comes from. You may believe it is from love, or from loyalty, or from pain. But deeper than that, much deeper, there are three hidden roots: fear, ego, and desire. Let's begin with fear. Have you ever lost something and immediately felt unsafe? Maybe it was a job, a person, a place, or even a routine. That feeling of your stomach sinking, that's fear. We hold on not always because we love something, but because we are afraid of who we will be without it. We say, I can't lose this, not because the object is valuable in itself, but because we've tied our safety to it. The mind whispers, what if nothing better comes? What if I'm alone? What if I'm not enough? Fear always speaks in what if. Letting go feels scary when fear is in charge. It makes you doubt, hesitate, and panic. But fear is just a shadow. And like all shadows, it disappears when light is brought in. Now let's look at the second root, ego. Ego is not pride alone. Ego is the belief, I am this, I deserve this, I need to be seen this way. It's the story you tell yourself and others again and again until you start believing it's real. Let's say you help someone many times. Then one day, they turn away. They ignore you, maybe even hurt you. And you feel pain, not just from what they did, but from what your ego expected. Ego says, they should be grateful to me. Ego says, how dare they do this after all I did? Ego holds onto its idea of fairness, respect, and image. That grip becomes suffering. You feel betrayed not only by the person, but by reality. It's not just the event. It's how tightly you held the idea of how things should go. A Zen monk once said, a bird may sit on a branch, but if the branch breaks, it is not the branch the bird trusts. It is its wings. Do you trust your wings, or are you holding too tightly to the branch? Now we come to the third root, desire. Desire is not evil. It is natural. Even the Buddha began with desire, the desire to end suffering. But uncontrolled desire leads to clinging, not just to objects, but to moments, feelings, and outcomes. Think about the desire to be loved in a certain way. You may be loved already, but not in the form you imagined. So you suffer, not because love is absent, but because your desire is too narrow. Desire says, I want this like this in this timing with this person. Life says, I will give what you need, not always what you want. Desire that turns into craving becomes a chain of comparison, a chain of expectation, a chain of restlessness. Desire always whispers, more peace, more attention, more results, more certainty. And when it doesn't come, frustration is born. You feel empty not because something is missing, but because your mind keeps stretching towards something it doesn't have. Now pause here with me. Take a deep breath. Can you see how fear, ego, and desire work together like a triangle? One leads to the other. Fear makes you protect your image, ego. Ego makes you crave recognition, desire. Desire makes you afraid of not having, fear again. It is a circle, a cycle. But cycles can be broken, not by force but by wisdom. Let me tell you a small story, just like a pebble dropped in still water. There was an old man who loved a tree. Every morning, he sat beneath it. He believed it gave him peace. One day, a storm broke half its branches. He became angry, then sad, then angry again. A traveler saw his sorrow and asked, did you lose the tree or the peace you believed came only through it? The old man paused. His hand stopped trembling. Maybe the tree was never the source. You see, we place our peace, our worth, our joy into outside things. When they change, we suffer. But what if they were never the source? What if you were? What if peace comes not from holding on, but from seeing clearly? To truly let go, you must not only open your hand, you must open your heart to the truth of impermanence. Everything changes. Everyone changes. And you too must change. Fear will whisper, what if I lose everything? Wisdom answers, what if you gain yourself? Ego will shout, they should treat me better. Wisdom replies, your peace doesn't depend on their behavior. Desire will cry, but I want this so badly. Wisdom smiles, let it come, let it go. You're still complete. This is not just philosophy. This is practice. Every time you feel pain, ask gently, is it fear, ego, or desire? Just naming it weakens its power. You don't have to fight it. To see it clearly, over and over again. Slowly, your grip softens. You realize you don't need to prove yourself. You don't need life to go a certain way. You don't need someone to change to be at peace. You start to live like the sky, vast, open, untouched by the clouds that pass. Some days, fear may still knock. Ego may still rise. Desire may still pull. That's okay. You don't push them away. You welcome them with gentle awareness. Oh, it's you again, you say. I see you, but I don't have to follow you. That is strength. That is letting go. Not by throwing things away, but by no longer letting them control your breath, your mood, your joy. Remember, letting go is not about losing. It is about seeing. And when you truly see the roots, fear, ego, and desire, you no longer water them. You water stillness. You water patience. You water freedom. And slowly, what grows in your heart is not suffering, but peace that does not depend on anyone or anything. And that, dear one, is the path of the wise. You are walking it already. Keep walking, with soft steps, in an open heart. Non-attachment versus indifference. A Buddhist clarification. So, you have come again, quietly, gently, seeking something deep. You want to understand this mysterious thing called letting go. And now, you stand at a fork in the path. You are wondering, if I let go of people, feelings, desires, will I become cold? Will I stop caring? Will I lose love, joy, passion? This is a common fear. So today, let's talk clearly about a very important difference. Non-attachment is not the same as indifference. Let me say that again, slowly, with care. Non-attachment is not indifference. They may look similar from the outside, but inside they are worlds apart. Indifference is when the heart is closed. When you say, I don't care. Non-attachment is when the heart is open, but free. You see, a person who is indifferent turns away from life. They avoid pain, yes, but they also avoid love. They avoid connection. They do not feel deeply, because feeling deeply scares them. But the person who is non-attached, they feel everything. They love. They care. They cry. But they do not cling. Let me give you a small story, like a drop of clear water. There was once a young monk who asked his master, should I not love others if I want to let go? The master smiled and poured tea into the student's cup. He filled it just enough. Then he stopped. Love, he said, like tea, must fill the cup, but not spill. When you pour too much, the cup overflows. That is attachment. When you pour nothing, the cup is dry. That is indifference. But when you pour just enough, you nourish the soul. The student nodded slowly. His heart began to understand. This is what you must learn. To love fully, but not fearfully. To be kind, without needing to be praised. To support others, without needing to control them. To feel pain, without drowning in it. Many people mistake letting go for shutting down. But letting go is not pushing people away. It is welcoming them without possession. When you are attached to someone, you say, you must act this way to make me happy. When you are non-attached, you say, I am happy to share this moment with you, no matter how long it lasts. See the difference? Attachment always comes with conditions. Indifference comes with walls. But non-attachment comes with openness. It says, I care, but I do not grip. I see you, but I do not cage you. I love you, but I do not own you. In Buddhism, this is called upekkha, equanimity. It means having a balanced heart. Not cold, not too hot, just steady, present, deep, alive. Let me give you another simple image. Think of the sun. It shines on all. It doesn't say, only if you love me back. It doesn't withhold warmth. It gives, naturally, freely, but does not follow you around. It doesn't chase you. It remains in its place, constant calm. That is how your heart should be. Many people fear non-attachment because they think it means detachment from emotions. But the truth is, the non-attached person feels more, not less. Because they're not afraid. They're not guarding their heart like a locked chest. They're not managing every feeling with caution. They're not building walls around their soul. Instead, they're open to all of life, joy, sorrow, gain, loss, like a river open to the sky. Now, ask yourself gently, what am I afraid to feel? Are you avoiding connection because you fear pain? Do you act indifferent because deep down you are hurt? Do you pretend not to care because caring once broke you? This is not wrong. It is human. But don't let your past wounds turn your heart cold. Letting go doesn't mean turning away. It means staying close, without fear, without tightness, without neediness. Here's a question for you. Can you look at a flower and enjoy it fully, without needing to pick it, own it, or make it last forever? If you can, then you understand non-attachment. To love something and let it be. To hold something without clenching your fist. To walk beside someone without dragging them or being dragged. This is strength. This is freedom. When you're non-attached, your heart becomes like a sky. Clouds pass. Joy, sadness, love, loss, and you let them pass. You feel them. You honor them. But you don't become them. Indifference says, I don't feel anything. Non-attachment says, I feel deeply, but I am not trapped. There's a great beauty in this way of living. You stop trying to fix everything. You stop trying to change people. You stop needing others to act in certain ways. And when you stop needing, your love becomes pure. Not a trade, not a contract, not a deal. Just love, just presence. Even with yourself. You stop judging yourself. You stop forcing yourself. You start holding yourself with the same soft, wise hands. You become your own friend. And in doing so, you are no longer alone. Remember, attachment comes from fear. Indifference comes from pain. But non-attachment comes from wisdom. And wisdom grows when you observe, reflect, and trust. So ask yourself, again and again, whenever you feel confused, am I being indifferent? Or am I practicing non-attachment? If your heart feels numb, breathe into it. If your heart feels closed, open it gently. If your heart feels tired, rest it but don't harden it. Non-attachment is like learning to walk on a narrow bridge. One side is too much emotion, you fall. The other is no emotion, you fall again. But when you walk steadily, watching each step, you cross with grace. So let this be your practice. Love but don't cling. Care but don't control. Feel but don't freeze. That is the art of the middle way. That is the heart of Buddhist wisdom. That is the peace you're looking for. It is already inside you, waiting, softly, quietly, always. The middle path. How letting go isn't giving up. You're still here. That is good. That means your heart is still searching, still listening. You've heard about attachment, identity, desire, and fear. You've come far. But now, a new confusion begins to rise in the mind. It sounds like this. If I let go, does that mean I'm weak? If I stop trying, am I giving up? If I no longer care about the result, what's the point of effort? These are honest questions. Deep ones. The kind that deserve not sharp answers, but gentle, real understanding. So today, let us walk slowly into the space between holding on and giving up. That space is called the middle path. This teaching comes directly from the Buddha himself. After years of extreme effort and painful self-denial, and before that, years of pleasure and comfort, the Buddha realized something. Neither extreme brings peace. Not indulgence. Not struggle. Peace lies in balance, in equanimity. Now you may ask, how is this connected to letting go? Let me explain. Many people think letting go means stopping everything, dropping the dream, leaving the relationship, quitting the job, abandoning the hope. That's one kind of letting go, but it's not the full picture. Letting go is not always about walking away. It is not weakness. It is not apathy. It is not laziness. True letting go is an inner release. You may still act, still try, still give your best, but you let go of the tight grip on the outcome. You stop clinging to the need for things to turn out a certain way. Let me give you a simple image. Imagine you are rowing a boat. You set your direction. You paddle with care. But the river has its own current. Letting go does not mean dropping the oars and floating blindly. Nor does it mean fighting the river endlessly. Letting go means paddling with awareness, while accepting the flow. You move, but you don't resist the deeper forces at work. You trust the journey, even when the path curves. This is the middle path. It's not passive. It's not stubborn. It's wise. Now let's take a more real example, say, from your life. Maybe you love someone deeply, but they don't love you in the same way. Or maybe the relationship is not peaceful anymore. You try and try and try, but nothing changes. You start to ask, should I keep going, or should I let go? This is where most people suffer. not because they let go, but because they confuse letting go with giving up hope or giving up love. But letting go does not mean you stop loving. It means you stop forcing. You stop trying to bend another person's heart with your will. You stop measuring your worth by their attention. You stop expecting life to dance to your music. And strangely, in that quiet surrender, peace returns. You realize love does not require possession. Effort does not always guarantee reward. And your value is not tied to success or recognition. So then, what is the middle path in this situation? It's continuing to live with love, but no longer needing that love to be returned in a certain way. It's still being kind, but no longer breaking yourself to keep someone else comfortable. It's being present with someone, but also ready to walk away if staying means losing your own center. Another example? Let's say you're chasing a dream, a goal, a project you believe in, but nothing works. Obstacles rise. People doubt you. Your own mind begins to whisper, maybe this isn't meant for me. Do you stop? The middle path says pause. Reflect. Is your pursuit still rooted in truth or in ego? Are you chasing it because your heart is cold or because your pride is hurt? If your intention is pure, keep walking, but let go of the timeline. Let go of needing validation. Let go of comparing your journey to someone else's. Letting go is not leaving your goal. It is leaving your obsession with how it must unfold. The middle path teaches you that you can act without anxiety. You can dream without being driven by fear. You can love without chaining your heart to outcomes. But this takes practice. It takes patience. You must learn to listen to your own breath when the world is loud. You must learn to ask, am I holding on from love or from fear? You must ask, am I letting go with awareness or am I escaping? Because yes, sometimes what we call letting go is actually running away. We don't want to feel. We don't want to face discomfort. So we drop everything and call it peace. But inside, we are still shaking. Real letting go doesn't feel like panic. It feels like relief, like loosening a tight knot, like setting something down that's been heavy for too long. There's a simple test you can use. When you let go, do you feel clearer, lighter, more open? Or do you feel numb, bitter, lost? If it's the first, good. You're walking middle path. If it's the second, pause. Maybe you didn't let go. Maybe you shut down. As Zen Master once said, when the archer lets go of the arrow with trust, not force, it flies true. The same is true of your heart, of your actions, of your dreams. You must let go, not to escape, but to aim better. Not to quit, but to trust. Not to stop feeling, but to feel more purely. Even the Buddha, in his final words, reminded his followers, all compounded things are subject to vanish. Strive with diligence. This means, know that everything changes, but still walk the path, still do your work, still live, but with awareness that you cannot hold on to anything forever, not people, not things, not even this body. Let go, but keep walking. This is the deepest freedom. The middle path is quiet. It is kind. It is strong in a way the world does not always understand. And when you walk it, you will find something strange happening inside you. You will try, but not with tension. You will care, but not with fear. You will love, but not with chains. You will begin to live, not as someone grasping for life, but as someone dancing with it. And then, letting go will no longer feel like loss. It will feel like breath, like grace, like truth. So walk gently now. You do not have to choose between holding on or giving up. There's another way, the middle path. It is waiting for you, right here, right now, in this breath. Letting go in relationships, compassion without control. So, you've returned again, and now your heart wants to understand something very deep. Letting go in relationships. This, perhaps, is the most painful part of all, because here, letting go does not feel like freedom at first. It feels like loss. It feels like heartbreak. It feels like saying goodbye to someone who is still alive in your heart. And so I will speak to you gently, because this part of letting go touches the most sensitive part of the soul, love. Let's begin slowly. When we love someone, we want to hold them close. That is natural. We want them to be happy, yes, but we also want them to be close, to understand us, to care for us in return. This is not wrong. It is human. But something happens. Without realizing it, Our love becomes tangled with expectation, with fear, with control. We stop loving a person as they are and begin loving them as we wish them to be. And then, slowly, love begins to hurt. We feel disappointed. We feel rejected. We feel abandoned. But ask this, did they truly abandon us? Or did they simply fail to meet the picture in our mind? That picture, that mental image of how someone should be, is often the source of our pain. We want them to text more, to speak softer, to never forget us, to always make us feel important. We want them to say the right words, make the right moves, read our thoughts. And when they don't, we feel unloved. But this is not love. This is attachment pretending to be love. Real love, the kind Buddha speaks of, does not grip. It does not demand. It does not punish. Real love gives space. So what does letting go look like in relationships? It looks like allowing people to grow, even if they grow away from you. It looks like honoring someone's path, even if it doesn't include you. It looks like giving without keeping score. It looks like loving someone fully, but knowing they do not belong to you. Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk who raised a small bird from a baby. He fed it every day, cared for it, loved it dearly. The bird would perch on his shoulder, sing in the mornings, follow him everywhere. One day, the monk opened the window and the bird flew out. The monk sat quietly, heart heavy. He missed the bird, but he did not try to chase it. When someone asked, "Why don't you go find it?" he smiled and said, "It was never mine to keep, only mine to love while it stayed." This is the heart of letting go in relationships. It does not mean you stop loving. It means you stop holding. And strangely, love becomes pure when it is not tangled with fear. You may wonder, but how can I let go when I still care? Let me answer you slowly. Caring is beautiful, but caring must not become control. You can wish someone well without needing to manage their journey. You can miss someone without needing them to come back. You can love deeply without needing love in return. This may sound sad, but it is not. It is freedom. When your love is no longer tied to possession or approval, you are no longer afraid. You can give openly. You can receive openly. And when someone walks away, you are not destroyed. You grieve. Yes, you feel, but you don't fall apart, because your peace no longer depends on someone else staying. Now, let me ask you gently, have you ever tried to change someone? To fix them? To teach them how to love you better? If yes, then perhaps you were not loving them. You were loving your idea of them. And when it did not match that idea, you suffered. Letting go means seeing someone clearly, not as you wish them to be, but as they are, and then asking, can I love them without needing them to be different? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. Both are okay. Letting go also means letting go of roles. Sometimes you are the helper. Sometimes the listener. Sometimes the strong one. But now you are tired. Now you want rest. Now you want balance. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to step back. You are allowed to say, I cannot carry this anymore. This too is love, love for yourself. You must not burn yourself to keep others warm. You must not stay in a place that kills your spirit just because you once called it love. Letting go means choosing peace over chaos, stillness over drama, truth over pleasing, and sometimes silence over explanation. But Zen letting go is quiet. It does not slam doors. It does not shout, I'm done. It bows. It thanks. It blesses the shared time and walks on. Sometimes people will not understand your peace. They may call it cold. They may say you gave up. But you will know, you didn't stop loving. You simply stopped suffering. So now I ask you softly, gently, who are you still holding in your heart like a prisoner? Whose approval are you still chasing? Whose silence are you still trying to break? Can you bless them in your heart and let them be? Can you stop rewriting the past and just accept it? You are allowed to remember and still release. You are allowed to care and still choose distance. You are allowed to love and still let go. This is the compassion that Buddhism teaches. Compassion not only for others, but for yourself. Not all relationships must be forever. Some come to teach. Some come to break you open. Some come to mirror your wounds. And some come simply for a season of your soul. Try to hold them longer only creates suffering. So let people go when they need to. Let the story end when it wants to. Let yourself breathe again. That is not failure. That is wisdom. And wisdom is the softest kind of strength. So as you walk on, carry this truth. You can love fully and still let go. You can feel deeply and still be free. You can care truly and still choose peace over attachment. This is not coldness. This is clarity, and it is beautiful. Let it guide you. Let hold you. Let set you free. Gently, silently, with an open heart. Let go. Letting go of the past. Freedom from yesterday's chains. You are here again, ready to explore the heart's quiet corners. Today, we will speak about something many find difficult. Letting go of the past. The past is like a shadow that walks behind us. Sometimes long, sometimes short. Sometimes it feels close, like a heavy burden on your shoulders. Sometimes it creeps silently in the night, filling your mind with worries, regrets, and stories. But what is the past, really? Is it a place you can live in? Can you touch it? Can you change it? No. The past is only a memory, a collection of moments that once were. Yet, so many hold tightly to it as if it defines them. I'm my past, they say. I'm what happened to me. And this, my friend, is where suffering begins. Imagine walking through a forest with a heavy bag on your back. That bag is filled with yesterday's mistakes, hurts, and disappointments. You carry it everywhere. It slows you down. It pulls you back. Why do we carry this bag? Because the mind tells stories. Stories about what we should have done. Stories about what others did to us. Stories about who we are based on pain. These stories create a prison, an invisible cage that holds your heart hostage. But here is a simple truth. The past is gone. It cannot be changed. It is only in your mind. Yet, you keep replaying the scenes like a broken record. You keep feeding old wounds, making them live again. This is the nature of the mind. Habitual, repetitive, and often unkind. So, how do you begin to let go of the past? The first step is awareness. Notice when your mind pulls you into yesterday's stories. When you feel regret rising, or anger, or sadness, say softly, this is the past. You do not have to follow it. You do not have to believe every thought. Buddhism teaches us to observe our thoughts like clouds in the sky. They come, they go. They do not belong to you. You are the sky, vast, open, and unchanging beneath the moving clouds. Practice watching the stories without judgment. See them clearly for what they are, just thoughts, not facts. Next, practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of anger and blame. Perhaps someone hurt you deeply, or maybe you hurt yourself with harsh words and regret. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Forgiveness allows your heart to soften. It is a gift you give to yourself. Try this. Say quietly in your mind, I forgive you. I forgive myself. You don't need to mean it right away. Just practice the intention. Over time, your heart will open. Now, let me share a small story. There was a man who carried a heavy stone everywhere he went. He said, this stone reminds me of my pain, my losses. I cannot let it go. One day, a wise monk said, why do you carry this stone? It weighs you down. The man replied, because it is part of me. The monk smiled and said, what if the stone is not part of you, but a burden you can put down? That day, the man put the stone down and felt lighter than ever before. You too can put your stones down. Remember, letting go of the past is not erasing your memories. It is not denying your experiences. It is no longer letting the past control your present. The past can teach you lessons, yes. It can shape your wisdom, but it does not have to imprison your heart. When you free yourself from the past, you open space for peace. You create room for joy. You live fully in the present moment. The present moment is a gift. It is where life happens. It is where you can breathe, smile, and be free. So, when old memories arise, greet them with kindness. Say, thank you for teaching me. Then gently turn your attention back to now. Feel your breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Feel the warmth of the sun or the coolness of the air. This is your home, not the past, not the future, just this moment. And in this moment, you are free. Free to love, free to grow, free to be. Practice this every day. Be patient with yourself. Letting go is a process, not a race. You may stumble. You may fall into old patterns. That is okay. Each time you return to the present, you build your strength. Like a river that flows around stones, you learn to move gently through your memories. And in time, the burden becomes lighter. The shadow becomes smaller. The past loses its power. You become the sky, wide, open, free. So, dear traveler, take a deep breath now. Let the past rest where it belongs, and step forward into the bright light of this moment. Here, now, you are free, and that freedom is your true nature. Always has been, always will be, letting go of control, trusting the flow of life. You've walked far, my dear friend, and now you come to a deep turning point. Letting go of control, perhaps the most difficult letting go of all. Not everyone wants money. Not everyone seeks fame. Not everyone longs for love. But almost everyone wants control. To control how people treat them. To control how life unfolds. To control outcomes, situations, timing. But here is the simple truth that few accept. Control is an illusion. You may plan, you may prepare, but you cannot control how others feel. You cannot control how events unfold. You cannot control the waves of life. And yet people try. They try very hard. They plan everything to the last detail. They expect others to act a certain way. They try to force outcomes through worry, fear, and tension. And what happens? Disappointment, frustration, exhaustion. Because the more you try to control life, the more life resists. It is like trying to hold water in your fist. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. Letting go of control doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your best, and then surrendering the result. Let me share with you a little story. There was once a farmer who had only one horse. One day, the horse ran away. The villagers said, "What bad luck?" The farmer replied, "Maybe yes, maybe no." The next day, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. The villagers said, "What good luck?" The farmer smiled, "Maybe yes, maybe no." The day after, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The villagers cried, "What terrible luck!" The farmer calmly said, "Maybe yes, maybe no." Later, the army came to the village to take young men for war. But the farmer's son was not taken because of his injury. The villagers praised his fortune. And again, the farmer said, "Maybe yes, maybe no." You see, he did not cling to control. He did not judge events too quickly. He did not rush to conclusions. He accepted what came. He flowed with life. And this is the art of letting go of control. We suffer not because life is uncertain, but because we resist that uncertainty. We try to be the director of every scene. But life is a mystery. It doesn't follow our script. And that's okay, because life often gives us something better than we imagined. But only when we stop clinging so tightly to how it should be. Now, ask yourself gently, where in your life are you forcing something? A relationship? A decision? A change in someone else? Pause for a moment. Feel how heavy it is. The effort, the struggle, the stress. What if you didn't have to carry that anymore? What if you could trust that life knows how to unfold? That your only job is to show up, clear, kind, present, and let life take care of the rest. This is not passivity. This is peace. You still take action, but you act without anxiety. You do not try to control the outcome, only your effort, your response. Think of a tree. It does not control the rain. It does not command the sun. It simply roots itself deep into the earth and trusts the seasons. It sheds its leaves in autumn. It stands still in winter. It blossoms in spring. It bears fruit in summer. And it does all this, not by control but by surrender. Can you be like the tree? Can you release your grip on how life must go? Can you trust that even if things don't go your way, they can still go well? Let me give you a simple practice. Each morning, say to yourself, "I will do my best today," and let go of the rest. And when the mind starts to worry, pause. Take a deep breath. Place your hand gently on your heart and whisper, "I don't have to control everything." You'll be surprised. The world doesn't fall apart when you let go. It often falls into place. Control creates tension. Letting go creates space. Control breeds fear. Letting go brings trust. Control is rooted in ego. Letting go is rooted in wisdom. And trust is the foundation of peace. Letting go of control is also letting go of the belief. I know what's best, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes the thing you're chasing will harm you. Sometimes the closed door is a protection. Sometimes the delay is a blessing in disguise. Life sees a bigger picture than you. And when you stop trying to control everything, you become available to its magic. You become softer, more open, more alive. You smile more. You breathe deeper. You sleep better, because you're no longer fighting the current. You are floating with it. This doesn't mean there will be no pain. There will be. But pain, when accepted, passes through. Pain, when resisted, lingers. Letting go of control means meeting each moment with openness. It means saying, yes, this too, even when it's hard. It means letting life be life, and letting yourself be human, imperfect, messy, still worthy of love. So here's my invitation to you. Let go of your need to know what's next. Let go of your demand that others behave a certain way. Let go of your belief that peace comes from getting your way. Peace comes from trusting the way, whatever it is. Trust that what is meant for you will come, and what is not will pass. And even in uncertainty, you can still find joy. Right here, in this breath, in this moment. That is where freedom lives. Not in control, but in surrender. And surrender is not weakness. It is the deepest kind of strength. So open your hands. Loosen your grip. Let the river carry you. You're not lost. You're being guided. Always. Letting go of expectations. Finding peace beyond should. You've come once again. Still walking the path. Still listening. And now, we come to something that silently ties knots in many hearts. Expectations. Let us sit here together in stillness and gently look at this. You may not realize it, but much of your suffering comes not from people, not from situations, but from your expectations of them. It's not that someone was late. It's that you expected them to be on time. It's not that your day didn't go well. It's that you expected it to go a certain way. It's not that someone didn't love you. It's that you expected them to love you the way you imagined. Expectations are like invisible strings. We tie them to people. We tie them to days. We tie them to ourselves. And when life moves differently, those strings pull tight and hurt. Now, expectations are not always bad. It is natural to hope. It is natural to imagine. But when your happiness depends on things going a certain way, you begin to suffer. And when they don't go that way, which often happens, you feel anger, sadness, disappointment. The Buddha spoke often about dukkha, the suffering that comes from craving and clinging. Expectations are a subtle form of craving. They are our mind trying to control life, trying to write the script for others, trying to hold a map and say, life, walk this way. But life does not follow your map. So the wise person learns not to erase all hopes, but to hold them gently, like holding a butterfly, not a rope. You may wonder, how can I live without expectations? Isn't that empty? No, it is not emptiness. It is freedom. Let me explain slowly. Imagine waking up without needing the day to be perfect. Imagine meeting people without needing them to act a certain way. Imagine doing your work without needing others to notice. Imagine loving without needing something in return. Wouldn't that feel light? Wouldn't that feel peaceful? This is not about not caring. This is about caring without demand. Let's go deeper. Think of someone in your life right now. Maybe a partner, a friend, a parent, a child. Ask yourself, what do I expect from them? Do you expect them to understand you without words? To always support you? To never hurt you? To be available when you call? And when they don't meet these expectations, what happens? You feel hurt. You feel betrayed. You feel unloved. But look closely. Is the pain coming from what they did or from what you expected? We often place unspoken rules on others, and when they break them, we blame them. But they never agreed to those rules. They're simply living their own life. You expected them to reply quickly, but they needed rest. You expected them to remember your special day, but they were overwhelmed. You expected them to say the right words, but they didn't know what you needed. This doesn't mean people are right to hurt you, but it means that sometimes our pain is self-created. When we let go of expectations, we make space for understanding. We make space for forgiveness. We make space for real connection, not connection based on demands. Let me tell you a little Zen story. A student came to his master and said, "Master, I expected you to greet me with joy, but you were silent. That hurt me." The master smiled and said, "Expectations are like clouds. You saw me through your cloud, not through your eyes. When you drop the cloud, you see the truth. Not what you want to see, but what is really there." Now, let's talk about self-expectations. We not only expect from others, we expect from ourselves. We expect to always be strong, to never make mistakes, to succeed quickly, to be perfect in every role, as a partner, parent, worker, friend. And when we fail, which all humans do, we punish ourselves. Why? Because we believe the story, "I should be better." That word, should, carries heavy weight. I should be over this. I should not feel this way. I should be happy by now. But the truth is, life does not follow should. Feelings don't follow should. Healing doesn't follow should. You heal when you heal. You understand when you understand. You grow when it is time, not when your mind demands it. So practice this. Be gentle with yourself. Let go of the harsh inner voice. Let go of the measuring stick you carry. Let yourself be human, not perfect. Each day, say to yourself, "I'm allowed to be where I am. I'm allowed to feel this. I do not have to meet every expectation." You will feel something shift inside. Not weakness, but peace. Letting go of expectations means returning to presence. To what is, not what should be. When you eat, just eat. When you speak, just speak. When you rest, just rest. No need to make every moment productive. No need to expect every experience to be profound. Let life be ordinary. And in that ordinariness, you will find something extraordinary. Peace. Now, let us return to this moment. Close your eyes if you wish. Breathe in, breathe out, and say gently, "I release the need for this moment to be anything other than what it is." Feel the space that opens. Feel the weight lift. This is the fruit of dropping expectations. A lightness, a stillness, a deep and quiet joy. You may still have hopes. You may still have goals, but they no longer control you. They do not decide your peace. That peace is already inside you, waiting, not in the future, not in perfection, but right here, in the space where should becomes silence, and silence becomes freedom. So walk on, dear traveler, no longer chasing the perfect version of life, but embracing life as it comes, with open hands, open eyes, and an open heart. That is the way of letting go. That is the way of peace. That is the way of the awakened one. Keep walking, letting go of a need to be understood, silent strength, deep peace. You'll come a long way. Your steps have grown softer, your eyes clearer, your heart more open than before. And now you come to this subtle, often silent burden, the deep need to be understood. This too can bind you in pain. You see, we all carry a longing. Understand me. See my truth. Know my heart. It begins early. As children, we cry not just for food, but for recognition. We want to be seen, to be held in the gaze of someone who truly understands. And as we grow, the desire changes shape, but not intensity. We want our parents to understand our choices. We want friends to understand our silence. We want our partner to understand our wounds. We want strangers to understand our kindness. And when they don't, when they misjudge us, ignore us, or misunderstand our words or actions, we feel pain, deep pain. This longing, though quiet, is powerful. And when it goes unmet, it turns into frustration, loneliness, even anger. We ask, how can I not see who I am? Why won't they listen fully? Why do I have to explain myself again and again? But, dear one, this pain comes not just from others' ignorance. It comes from attachment to being understood. Yes, being understood is beautiful. It feels like sunlight on a cold day. It warms us. It softens us. It comforts us. But here is the great teaching. You can live, love, speak, and even shine without being understood. Letting go of the need to be understood is one of the most powerful forms of freedom. Not because you don't care, but because you no longer allow misunderstanding to steal your peace. Let me tell you a short Zen story. A monk once spent years in solitude, meditating in a mountain cave. One day, a traveler passed by, saw him, and said, "You're wasting your life up here." The monk simply smiled and said, "Perhaps." He didn't defend. He didn't explain. He didn't carry the burden of being misunderstood. Why? Because he knew himself. His truth was clear to him, and that was enough. This is the secret. You don't need to explain your peace to those committed to misunderstanding it. Many will not see your heart clearly, not because it is hidden, but because their eyes are covered by their own beliefs, fears, or stories. And sometimes, no matter how gently you speak, no matter how carefully you explain, they will not understand. Letting go means making peace with that. You can still speak your truth, but you are no longer desperate to be believed. You can still live with compassion, but you do not tie your joy to how others interpret your actions. You can still love deeply, but you do not crumble when someone distorts your intentions. This, dear traveler, is silent strength. It does not shout, "Understand me." It simply lives in truth. There's power in that, a quiet power, like a candle that does not beg the wind to be kind. It simply continues to burn. Now ask yourself gently, how many times have you exhausted yourself trying to explain your heart? How many times have you felt unseen, even after speaking with full honesty? How many times have you changed your words, dimmed your light, or twisted your truth just to be accepted? How did that feel? Heavy, yes? Because bending for approval never brings real peace. It only makes you feel smaller. So the Zen way is this. Speak when it is kind. Stay silent when words would tangle more than they free. Act with clarity, and let go of the results. Let others hold their own thoughts. You do not have to fix them. You do not have to fight their version of you. Let them think. Let them talk. Let them walk away. You remain steady. You remain true. Another small story for you. A disciple once asked his master, "Why don't you argue with those who misunderstand you?" The master replied, "Because their ears are not ready. My silence is kinder than my explanation." Sometimes silence is the highest expression of wisdom. It is not weakness, it is trust. Trust that your life will speak louder than your defense. Trust that your actions will reveal more than your words. Trust that time will uncover truth. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself. It means you release the weight of needing everyone to get you. Some will, some won't. That's okay. Truth doesn't change based on how many people agree with it. Your peace does not need permission. You may walk into a room full of people who misunderstand your story. You may live among those who misread your soul. Still walk gently. Still offer kindness. Still hold yourself with honor. Because the truth is not always loud. It often whispers, and those with open hearts will hear it, even without words. And now, turn your attention inward. What would it feel like to stop explaining yourself? To let go of needing every word to be perfectly received? To live your truth and allow others their response, whatever it may be. It feels like freedom, like taking off a mask you've worn too long, like walking barefoot through your own heart. It does not mean you never speak. It means you speak with intention, not to prove, but to share, not to convince, but to connect. And when the connection is not there, you bless it anyway and move on. Letting go of the need to be understood invites you into deep self-trust. You become your own home, your own anchor, your own clarity, and then the opinions of others lose their grip. The misunderstandings pass like clouds, and you remain untouched, steady, free. This is not coldness. This is the warmth of someone who no longer begs the world to reflect their worth. They know it already. They carry it calmly. So breathe now. Let the tension fall from your shoulders. Let the need to explain dissolve like mist in the morning sun. And say quietly to yourself, "I know who I am." That is enough. Walk on, dear traveler. Speak when it brings peace. Be silent when peace is already present. Let misunderstanding pass. Let judgment pass. Let your soul be seen, not by everyone, but by those who truly look. You are not here to be understood by all. You are here to live in truth, with a light that needs no approval. That light is already shining, and it is beautiful. The final letting go, returning home to yourself. So, you have reached the end of the path, or perhaps the beginning. 12 deep steps into your own heart. And here you are, still breathing, still listening, still softening. You've walked through letting go of pain, control, expectations, old wounds, and misunderstood love. You've listened deeply. You've seen yourself clearly. And now, you are ready for the final letting go. The last one, the one that holds all the rest together. The letting go of everything. Not to become empty, but to finally become yourself. Let me ask you this. Who are you when there's nothing left to hold? No nubbins, no past, no image, no role, no story, just presence, just being. This is where the great journey always ends. Back to silence, back to stillness, back to now, back home. You see, most of life is spent chasing. We chase happiness, success, attention, love, peace. We run and run, hoping one more achievement, one more person, one more moment will finally bring rest. But the truth? What you seek has always lived inside you. Letting go is not about loss. It is about returning. You let go of control, not because life is chaotic, but because you're learning to trust. You let go of people, not because you don't love them, but because you stop clinging. You let go of pain, not because it didn't matter, but because it no longer has to rule you. You let go of expectations, not because you stopped dreaming, but because you're waking up. Every letting go leads you here, to this breath, this space, this quiet place in you that has never been broken. And now from this place, look back. Look at how far you've come. Remember the old you, the one who held on so tightly, to fear, to approval, to proving something, to being right, to not being left. That version of you suffered, not because you were weak, but because you believed you had to hold everything together. Now you know, you don't. Life was never asking you to carry so much. It was only asking you to be real, to be open, to be present. So let us sit together here quietly. No more rushing, no more fixing, no more becoming. Just being. Feel the stillness in your body. Feel the breath moving in and out. Feel the soft presence of life, as it is. This is the reward of letting go. You stop reaching, and you start arriving. You start seeing beauty in small things. A warm cup of tea, a kind word, a soft breeze, a single moment of peace. No past pulling you back, no future dragging you forward. Just now, let me share a story. One last story. There was once a monk who spent 40 years searching for enlightenment. He studied every scripture, traveled to every teacher, practiced every ritual, but peace always escaped him. One day, tired and old, he sat by a tree and said, "I give up." And in that moment, he smiled. He had let go, not just of effort, but of the idea that he was lacking anything. He was already whole, and so are you. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. You are simply holding too much. Too many expectations. Too many shoulds. Too many fears. Let them all go now. Let yourself be simple again, like when you were a child, curious, open, present. That's the great secret. You don't become enlightened by gaining something. You awaken by dropping what isn't real. The need to please, the fear of judgment, the belief you're not enough, the noise of the world. Drop it. Drop it all. And what remains? Peace, stillness, clarity, a soft, steady light within you. That was always there. That never left. Now, as we come to the end, let this truth settle in your bones. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is coming home. Coming home to your own breath, to your own knowing, to your own deep heart. The world may still be noisy. Things may still go wrong. People may still leave. But inside you, there is now a quiet place. A place that does not shake. A place that does not chase. A place that does not fear. This is what all the Zen Masters pointed to. Not a life without storms, but a mind that is not blown away by them. So now, dear one, breathe once more. Feel the weight you once carried gone. Feel the freedom in your chest. Feel the silence behind your thoughts. This is what you were seeking, and it is already yours. From here on, live gently. Speak kindly. Walk slowly. love deeply. And when life tries to pull you back in a noise, return here, to this peace, to this center, to this breath. You are free. You are whole. You are home. Now, before we part ways on this sacred journey, I ask just one final thing. There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% have subscribed. If this journey touched you, even in a small way, if these words helped lighten your heart or clear your mind, please like this video, share it with someone who might be carrying too much. Comment your thoughts and feelings below. And most importantly, subscribe to our channel Wisdom Woven, because the world needs more spaces like this. And together, we can keep creating them. You have walked 12 steps of letting go, but you have not lost anything. You have only found yourself. And that is the most sacred discovery of all.